What's Buffalo's destiny this season? It's kind of
I mean, the same as it is every year. They're going to win their division with ease. They're going to roll an overmatched opponent in the wild card round in Buffalo, and then they're going to play a legitimate contender, probably Patrick Mahomes, but maybe not, and lose. Like that, and it is so surprising to me how much pessimism about the Bills there was nationally. You know, I looked back over our preseason predictions on this show. You had them in the playoffs, which I applaud you for. That Greg and Coach had them missing the playoffs. Nobody had them winning the division but me. Like, there's faith for the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins are in a weird spot because the quarterback got hurt.
You're guaranteeing they're winning the division at this point.
No,
right?
I'm not.
A lot of football left in the season.
There's a lot of football left in the season.
As long as we're taking victory laps.
No.
See someone come
I mean, that's the.
They're in a good position.
No, Coach is absolutely right. There's a ton of season left, but let's just take a snapshot of the division. The Patriots might be the worst team in football, and they're starting a rookie quarterback. The Dolphins are kind of an asterisk until we find out what's going on with Tua.
They might be out of it by the time
correct. And when Tua was playing, those first 6 quarters of the year looked shaky at best. And the Jets have already fired their coach. So it's not over. That is true. But there was so much pessimism about a Bills team that came into the year with a better offensive line than they've had the last few years, a better defensive line, I felt, because it was younger players who had improved over the last couple years than they had over the last few years, and the same quarterback. So you have a solid O-line, solid D-line, and a top-5 quarterback, you're going to be good. And so do I think Amari Cooper makes them a Super Bowl team? No, because I think that they need some more talent and maybe a different messenger via head coach for the Super Bowl. But I think they're a good to really good team, and that's what they've always going to be.
So they lost a lot of firepower in the offseason in terms of the changes that they made. And I think that adding Amari Cooper is a positive. I don't think that what Josh Allen is doing right now is sustainable. He's gone 8 games without throwing a pick. Last year, he was, second in the league in interceptions. So this has been a fantastic run for him. So when it does go back to the pattern that he's shown, and hopefully it doesn't for them, but traditionally they do, I want to see how they sustain, in those circumstances. And we can rule out the Jets, but there is a lot of football left, and they just added a outstanding player, and they could easily get on a run too. I don't think that Buffalo is so far ahead of where they are that this thing couldn't switch.
I mean, they're literal 3 games clear of them because they beat them head-to-head. So, I mean, that's a big difference. And the Jets added, it's Devontae right now. Call him an A wide receiver. And the Bills added a B-plus wide receiver? Like, you know what I mean? They both added a position.
Yeah, I think there's more separation between the 2 players.
Okay, an A and a B then. That's fine. Like
and the Jets added an A player who has a relationship with the quarterback. There's less alert. There should be more impact quickly with the addition of Devontae than with Amari.
Yeah, look, I applaud them for going to get Amari. I was upset. I feel like I get that you may have to reset and make some retool, but it felt like they're admitting we weren't a Super Bowl team this year. We're going to be good, but going out to get Amari, I think shows me that they have a pulse. Like, okay, we are going to try to be a really good team this year, but they lost more than Stephon Diggs. To your point, Coach, they lost a lot of, not only players on defense, Trey Wright, Jordan Poyer, guys that were leaders. Matt Milano's hurt again, and so defensively, and I do think McDermott's a good defensive guy, but the last 3 years they've been top 4 in the league in scoring defense, top 10 in the league overall defense. This year they're 11th in the league in scoring defense and 21st in total defense. So I think I end up agreeing with Nick ultimately. Their ceiling is 1 playoff win, and then they're going to get bounced. Now, I still think the Jets got a chance to win the division, but I think Buffalo will make the playoffs. But they will win 1 playoff game at most. They might lose the first one, but they'll win 1 at most and then get bounced.
So 2 things. One is I do, and I know it sounds weird coming from me, and I think Brew will agree with me. When you have this level of quarterback, when that divisional round game starts, it sounds like you and I both would say they're going to lose. They are more than a live dog against anybody because, you know what I mean. They are, a Josh Allen heater away from, you know what I mean, finally hanging a real banner and not the September champs banner. And that's the question I wanted to ask you because you you're right that Josh has totally cut out the interceptions. But also, half the games this year, I think it's, 3 of the games this year, he's had fewer than 180 yards passing. So you're saying you don't know if it's sustainable that he keep up the interceptionless football. I guess my counter would be, I think they're almost already paying a similar penalty that you would pay if Josh was doing his normal yardage, but with the turnovers, and that he's being so conservative with the ball, they are punting instead of throwing interceptions. So I don't think I'd be more nervous about Buffalo if I thought Josh was on an A-plus football run. But I don't. I think 3 of the games this year he's been mediocre or bad, and even though he's not turning the ball over, and they're still 4-2.
They've lost the explosive factor.
Yes, exactly right.
But he still extends plays. He still makes plays with his feet. He still makes Superman-type plays. And there's going to be those games where they're trailing or where he's got to go into that mode of pressing. And I think that's where we're going to run back into the interceptions. And when you add a piece like Amari Cooper, is there now the temptation to, okay, let's go try to get some more big plays. Let's go try to justify this decision. Hopefully not, because they've got a good formula.
Would you take those some bigger plays and a few more interceptions?
Well, there's no bigger statistic than the giveaway-takeaway ratio for success and failure in the NFL in terms of wins and losses. Traditionally, the numbers. So it's hard to say, yeah, we'll take a couple more turnovers to get 50
I would take them against
the
best teams. I think against the best teams, they're going to have to play a higher variance style. I think,
but typically, though, against the best teams, you have to play the most mistake-free to win.
I understand that just quickly. That's if you're on equal caliber talent-wise. You guys are right that this Bills team lost a lot of talent, is kind of resetting there. When you're a talent underdog, that has to be the David Goliath.
You got to throw some haymakers.
You got to throw some haymakers, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so the biggest critique I had of Josh historically is he would add variance to games. They were 10-point favorites. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where it's like, no, we actually are just better than them. I think he's done a really good job of not doing that this year. But now in a game like the Ravens, if they play them again, the Ravens beat you 35-10 when you tried to play conservative. You're going to have to, you know what I mean, throw some variance in there.
Okay, so let me take you behind the curtain. The question that we were about to ask was in the document, and I thought you were going to jettison this thing out of there and say it's insulting and we shouldn't do it. But you saw it and just went quiet on the call. Would you rather have Drake Maye or the Prince moving forward?
Why are you asking me? You put it in.
I did not put this in.
It just keeps getting worse.
Let me make this clear, because I'll answer the question. But let me make this clear, America. Wilds, our producers, even our bosses have explained to us the downside of our seeming obsession with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, they showed us data.
They showed us data. They were like, hey, guys, here's people watching the show, and then here's what happens when you do this. And
didn't care.
We didn't care.
No.
We didn't care.
Bad decision.
It did not care. And then when the Jags season went totally awry, everyone said, all right, now it's kind of a win-win for everyone. Like, we don't have to talk about this team that the audience doesn't like us talking about, and Nick, you don't have to defend him anymore. He's not on the show. So I was like, listen, whatever you guys say, Wild's the leader of the show. And then he puts this nonsense in there, knowing, Brew, here's the problem.
Great question.
Brew, here's the problem.
My answer,
I'm not avoiding it.
2 minutes.
I am painting a picture.
He's running the clock out.
Right.
My answer, obviously, in a vacuum, is Trevor Lawrence. The problem is, and Wilds knows this, is because I'm Mr. Consistency, I must weigh a guy who's making $55 million versus a guy on a rookie contract. And that makes it too close to call. So you go. Like I was just telling you.
Well, look, I'm going to take you behind the curtain.
Oh, okay. God.
Nick said yesterday, he said he was empathetic. I think people have questioned that, but I'm empathetic, and I feel bad for Trevor.
I do too.
He
I
has
put
been
pro-Trevor
dropped like
stats here.
a bad habit by Nick
Bad habit.
on national TV.
You guys made me do it.
we did not.
No, we didn't mean you bring out
created
the
the
trumpeters.
trash
You
hour.
and
created
all the
Trevor
same
trash hour.
trumpeters, the same trumpeters you use for Trevor now you use for
I know.
Caleb.
Well, they're
and
the
then
only
even bat
ones
an eye.
available in the city.
I've actually toyed with the idea
What?
of making Trevor my guy. I've toyed with that idea.
That
but
is very kind of you. to do
yeah,
that.
I feel bad for the guy.
Then you realize you called him the weak link for years.
Well, I thought it was motivating him, but and you're right. The money, obviously, the money. You take Drake Maye
You
because he's
also
not.
said-
Doesn't have a 5 years, $275
You
million
wanted to see
contract.
more classic one by you. You wanted to see more before giving his contract.
Yes, absolutely.
You never
Would
did
have
credit for
waited.
that take.
Here, Nick, I'm gonna say
That's
this.
true.
I gotta say this.
I want to stab you.
Drake Maye
What?
threw for 3 touchdowns against a very good Houston Texans defense
True.
in his first game. Trevor Lawrence hasn't thrown for 3 touchdowns in his last 9 games. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns once in his last 25 regular season starts.
Yikes! I didn't know that.
Trevor Lawrence, this is his best year.
Okay.
Look at Trevor Lawrence's
I hope they
best
don't have it. I
season.
hope the
I'm waiting.
25
Here
right?
we go. And it's a blind reveal.
We
Nick
all
probably
know
knows.
who the other
That's
guy
his
is. It's
best
Russell
year.
Wilson.
Who's the blind?
You use the Russell
I'm just
Wilson
saying,
thing.
Russell Wilson's worst year. Nick, totally
That's not his
second
worst
worst.
year.
His second worst
Drew
year.
always
That's
uses
Russell
the
Wilson
Russell
last year.
Wilson thing,
Trevor
and then
Lawrence
he's like,
would die
the
for
stat-
those numbers.
Yeah, and then
98 pass rate. Trevor Lawrence is like, my gosh, they cut him. They cut him. How is it? What are they thinking?
Hey, Trevor, $250
Right.
million.
They got, hey, give me Drake Maye. I know it's early.
answer.
I know it's early, but give me Drake Maye. I have no idea what Drake Maye's going to be.
I don't know.
Coach, if you dare take the quarterback who's played one game after everything you're built on.
Absolutely. I'm going with Trevor Lawrence.
Thank you.
Drake Maye, to me, gives me early Sam Darnold vibes. I've said that over.
Oh, undefeated Sam Darnold?
Well,
No,
yeah,
no.
Sam did actually
Early
look good in his
Sam
first
Darnold
game.
vibes.
So, yeah, that's true.
And look, Trevor's shown that he can win in the league. It's unfortunate
playoff
where he is right now.
Thank you.
If I had to draft a team right now outside of the
With
money,
the- but the
I wasn't
money's-
taking the money part
money's a
into
Don't
consideration.
do it.
Money is a
So,
part of it.
I would take.
Coach, you're going to have to wear the wig. As punishment for a horrible
I don't
answer.
like him that much.
That was Coach. Great job.
That concludes the Trevor Trash Hour. The correct answer was Drake Maye.
That was rough.
Coming up next, Saquon going back to the Giants, not on the team. John Mara's like, oh, right.
See, this is what
Time for the
I don't
Trevor
like
Lawrence
this.
trash.
that's what you guys
It was
do.
right
make
deal.
that
That's
as
what-
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.